Hello and welcome to ABiQ, the week that was July 3rd, 2020. Central Africa. Over the next 3 years, Angola will receive $82.6 million from a global fund to fight malaria, HIV/AIDS and tuberculosis. The African Development Bank approved 88 million euros to Cameroon to assist in the fight against COVID-19. Eastern Africa. The Ministry of Urban Development and Construction in Ethiopia submitted a draft proposal to establish an executive body in all urban centers to approve, supervise and inspect buildings from the planning phase through construction to completion. The Ethiopian Petroleum Supply Enterprise is converting its Sululta Strategic Reserve Depot to supply benzene only, which resulted in shortages of gas, oil and long queues around the country. As a result of COVID-19, Kenya's tourism sector has so far lost more than $751 million in revenue, or about half of last year's total. Kenya Railways and Afristar are not able to push for an early handover of operations of the standard gauge railway, as the two companies do not agree on how to go about the handover. On Saturday, the World Bank approved a grant of $117 million to support Mozambique's urban development and decentralization project. Rwanda's government has finally approved the budget and is preparing to pay contractors their arrears. USAID signed an agreement with $643 million over 5 years to support Rwanda's transformative development program that include the health and education sectors. The World Bank has approved a $15 million loan through the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development to support the government of Seychelles' response to the COVID-19 pandemic's economic and social fallout. The Somali government announced that domestic flights which were suspended due to COVID-19 will resume operations from July 5th. The Somali government received a $40 million International Development Assistance grant approved by the World Bank's Board of Directors as part of an emergency locust response program. Strong demand for automotive vehicles in Tanzania resulted in several domestic and foreign manufacturers planning to expand their production base in the country. The World Bank just declared Tanzania a lower middle income country and will now have access to international credit. This, however, ends Tanzania's eligibility to low-cost loans and preferential access to regional trading blocs. According to data from the Bank of Uganda, the country's import bill has dropped more than 46% to the lowest in 3 years. Uganda's government elevated 7 municipalities to city status. This is part of Uganda's 2040 vision. Northern Africa. On June 29th, Egypt requested the UN Security Council to adopt a resolution on efforts to resolve a dispute over Ethiopia's new hydroelectric Renaissance Dam on the Blue Nile. Egypt announced the discovery of gold deposits in the southeast of the country with an estimated recoverable reserve of 1 million ounces. Egypt reopened major tourist attractions and restarted international flights on July 1st. Tribes in eastern Libya agreed to resume oil production and possible exports. This comes after negotiations started between the US and regional governments. Russia announced the reopening of its embassy in Libya, although its main staff will temporarily be based in neighboring Tunisia. Southern Africa. Botswana had to tap into its strategic fuel reserves to alleviate shortages as a result of import delays during the COVID-19 crisis and panic buying. Potatoes grown in Malta started a 2-month journey to Namibia to help address the food crisis in the country. More South African airports will open as the aviation industry resumes flights. Local airports will be allowed to operate for domestic flights only from July 1st. All international passenger flights are still grounded with the exception of flights authorized by the Transport Minister for repatriation of citizens. Mobile operator MTN Group joined Vodacom and Rain by launching its 5G network across major cities in South Africa. South Africa's central bank announced its first current account surplus in 17 years during the first quarter of 2020. The trade balance more than doubled during this period. Total SA has deployed the Otfell rig to South Africa to look for more oil near the massive discovery about 175 kilometers offshore its southern coast. Western Africa, Ghana inaugurated 2 water projects which will provide potable water to communities in the central region. Guinea-Bissau's president dismissed 5 ministers, including those of defense and the interior. Liberia officially opened commercial flights on June 29th. Liberia also made headway to gain membership to the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, with both parties agreeing on terms and conditions. Abuja Airport in Nigeria has reopened with strict COVID-19 safety protocols. The Federal Executive Council in Nigeria approved $20 million for the construction of roads in Abuja. The Infrastructure Concession and Regulatory Commission announced that public-private partnerships, or PPP projects, have attracted about $8 billion over the past 10 years in Nigeria. Senegal has lifted its state of emergency to support the struggling economy. The president warned that Senegal's economy would grow by less than 1.1% this year as a result of COVID-19. Thank you for watching ABiQ's The Week That Was. I hope to see you back next week. Goodbye.